Hey there, Ben here from BFU, and today I have the pleasure of chatting with Drew Scaggs, owner of the shop Fitness and Performance in Oregon, and how he generated 126 leads from mostly doing events this month. So we've got some great tips for you on how to find groups to get your events to happen that you don't have to do all the legwork, how to market those events, how to present offers to those events, and we get into a little bit of reactivating former members with segmenting your email list. So I know you're going to love this one. Let's dive in. Hey friends, Ben here with Business for Unicorns, and today I bring you a very special episode with Drew Scaggs, owner of the shop Fitness and Performance, in Oregon. He generated 126 leads last month, and we're going to dive into how he did that so you can steal his secrets. But before we dive in, I just want to remind you that we have a new free tool on our website that we just put up because we know how hard it is on the topic of generating leads to find compelling offers to get more leads and more members in your business. So we've put together an entire document of our best converting offers as a PDF that you can go grab right now. Just click below in the show notes and it's yours for free, no strings attached. All right, Drew, let's dive in. So 126 leads. Where do you want to begin?
Well, that is a record for us. So I was very pleased with the performance that month, but we did a couple of new things and some of them are ongoing. So I'm excited to see how this trend continues.
Well, why don't we start with the couple of new things you did? Tell us about what did you do? What were the things, but also how did you do the smart things you did to get all the leads out of it?
Sure. So we had 3 events in the month of October. 2 of them were with a group called Charge. That's a women in health and fitness group that's on campus at Oregon State University. So we are in a college town. And we had experience with them from back in April, and a good experience. They reached out to us again at the start of this school year to schedule some events for their members, and 60 of our leads came just from that group. And after our 2 events, we hosted 2 workouts for them during the week, and we signed up a handful of members and have all the rest as leads to continue nurturing.
Nice. So you did an event for Charge, and then you also followed it up with a workout. Tell us a little more about what was the event or events?
The event was the workout. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, because they are a women in health and fitness. So the purpose of the group is to introduce their members to local gyms or studios or other types of fitness so that they can get exposed to different types. And then, for the most part, they end up joining one or more of those studios.
Oh, I see. So if I understand you correctly, Charge would have different studios host different events to expose women in health and fitness to what the options are like and educate them and give them an experience. And you were one of the gyms they'd rotate around, but they loved you so much they invited you back.
Exactly. So that first event happened back in April, and we were apparently the most requested one for this year. So we were the first one, and because we didn't want to jam too many people into the gym to compromise the experience. So they asked if we could do back-to-back nights. So we divided the group up, and we had 2 different evenings with approximately 24 people in attendance, plus a handful of people that each time, plus a handful of people that couldn't make it, who were continuing to email and nurture.
That's fantastic. Congratulations. So I'm curious, doing events, whether it's with Charge or a charity workout or what have you, isn't necessarily a new thing for gyms. These are pretty common. So I'm curious, did you do anything special or any tips to make sure that you captured everybody as a lead? Did you follow up with an offer? Tell us about the process to do that. Because I know some gyms will run a charity workout and they raise lots of money, but they didn't really get any clients out of it. And it sounds like you had the opposite and had really good success.
Yeah, for sure. I think the simplest thing that we did was when it came to register for the event, we sent out a quick and easy sign up link, and it was free for people to attend. And so that way they submitted name, phone, email, and it wasn't reliant on, them contacting us or doing anything like that to get registered. So when it came to collecting information, as simple as possible.
And you took ownership of that collection process. It wasn't like, oh, we'll see how many people come and get them to write their name on a sheet of paper. Like you did this all in advance with your systems.
For sure, and it was done in PushPress. We added an event. They our system PushPress collected the name, phone, email. We had a capacity limit that we had broadcast to the charge group, so they knew that spots were limited. So they were kind of motivated to reserve that spot. And then leading up to the event, we sent out a couple of emails talking about things like parking, what to wear, because we were kind of in that transition period weather wise, where if it was cool, we might have the doors open. If it was cold, we would have the doors closed. And so that way we could communicate with them in advance. And then we did have an offer for them at the end of their workout on both nights.
What was the offer and how did you deliver it?
The offer was at the end of their workout, we just sort of recapped everything we did, and we talked about what our programming and workouts look like. And then we offer a student discount. And if they were to sign up by noon the following day, they would get $50 off their first payment of their membership. So a pretty significant discount.
Yeah, that's huge. So it sounds like kind of rough recap is you controlled the sign up process in your own systems. You weren't reliant on the other group because we know that the group may or may not be as organized as you are.
Exactly.
Then you made sure to kind of warm them up, so to speak, of what to expect. Here's what's going to happen to remove any hesitations or barriers people might feel coming into it. Because again, we know sometimes you run events and the show rate can be kind of dismal, especially for a free thing. It sounds like you made them feel comfortable, so they all wanted to show up. And then last but not least, you made an offer at the end of the workout in person that was time sensitive for a pretty good deal. I also want to point out that offer, and I mean this in a good way, like it's not revolutionary. It's $50 off. It's super simple. You didn't make a new thing. You didn't do anything crazy. It wasn't like your first month is $1. Like this is like a reasonable savings.
Exactly. And just by getting a handful of signups, even with that significant discount, I mean, we've already, I had a few coaches assisting me on those nights, but we've more than recouped any sort of expense that was involved with the process.
Yeah. $50 off. We'll happily give everyone $50 off their first month, knowing they'll probably continue.
Yeah, it was a no-brainer. And then following that, we announced that offer that night in person. I sent a follow-up email immediately after everyone left, and then I had a follow-up email the next morning because that offer was expiring at noon. So,
right.
Yeah,
you really hit them hard on that in like a good way, because I know some gym owners, myself included, at a period of time was like, hey Drew, like if you're interested in signing up, like we'd love to have you, but like no pressure, we don't want to sell you. And you hit them 3 times over a less than 24-hour period.
Yes, exactly. And actually 4 times, because after the offer expired, I sent a follow-up and said something, if you weren't able to make it to the event, here's a free class for you to redeem at any time. And by the way, if you enjoyed your experience, here's a link to leave us a Google review. So
Nice. And how many Google reviews did you get out of it?
we got 2.
All right. Hey,
Yeah, I wanted more, but 2's good.
2 is great for people who are, let's be real, not a diehard of your business. They're just here to experience the thing.
Yeah, that was a one-time visit for most of those people.
So you got a whole bunch of leads that are in your database so they'll get offers as time goes on. So you might get more of them on Black Friday or New Year's, etc. You've added a bunch of leads. You also got a handful of clients out of it. And for the people who didn't do either, or might have done some of them, you also got Google reviews out of it. You basically triple dipped with this.
Yeah, exactly.
That's beautiful. Well done. So I'd like to go back to, you did this charge event in April. I'm curious, like it's something that strikes me as really clever that you've done is go to a group of people who are already potentially interested in this versus, doing something like a charity boot camp is obviously a great opportunity. But you've then got to market it. You've got to get people into it. You've got to do all the logistics. You've got to manage the project, so to speak. How did you find out about Charge in the first place? Because this seems like a kind of a goldmine way to do it rather than like it saved you a lot of legwork. They already had the people. You just need to host an event.
For sure. And to be perfectly clear, they reached out to me earlier this year when we did the very first event. And so I was initially skeptical because I didn't know what to expect from the group or how it was going to operate, and so I was hesitant, a little bit skeptical to even schedule an event. Um, and then one of my coaches back then was also she was finishing up her degree at the time. So she actually knew some of the people. She helped me coach that first event. And we had such a great experience. What I realized is that we were also doing the organizers a favor. They have to fill their calendar with gyms or studios to host these events. That's the entire purpose of their group. And by offering them time slots or multiple time slots, we're making their life easier. And then when it comes time to promote, they're going to gladly shout our name. In fact, one of the directors of that group has been a member with us for since that first event.
That's amazing. So yeah, there's
Yeah.
a really good pro tip here, listeners, that you don't necessarily need to create the play and run the play. You might be able to, I don't know if Charge is in multiple cities. I've never heard of it where I am in Southern Ontario, but you can do a bit of research and leverage your network, including your trainers like Drew's done, and see what groups are there out there that you not having to do the legwork is actually a huge favor to the organizers. And that could be schools, charitable organizations. There's all sorts of opportunities there where it would end up being a win rather than, hey, we want to do this thing. We got to pick a date. We've got to do all the marketing. We've got to get enough people in to make it worth our while. There's a lot of wins in there by you working with this group. It sounds like more wins to come too.
I think so, because they just asked me after this most recent couple of events to be like a referral for them for other businesses. So when they contact other gyms, they have a little blurb from me about how great and easy the process was, how much fun it was. And so while hopefully that helps them book more events, I think what it also is going to make them realize is that if they hit any resistance anywhere else or any reluctance to sign up, they know they can just come back to me and bring me more people. So
Yeah, I imagine you'd happily do this once a quarter.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, anything else to share about the events since I got you about half your leads last month?
Um, Nothing on those events, but what I already did for this month was I'm basically just going to rerun that play just with a different group. So I contacted our Chamber of Commerce, and I have an event scheduled with any member of the Chamber of Commerce coming up in about 2 weeks.
And same option, they could come in for a free workout and you just run the exact same play.
Pretty much. The offer is going to be different because we had a student membership versus, say, a regular LBO or something like that for anybody that's not a student.
Right. Yeah, that makes
So
sense. But again,
yeah,
same
so
thing. You kept it simple.
slightly different offer. Pretty much everything about the play is going to be the same otherwise.
That's awesome. I'm excited to hear about the results of that. So, where did the other half of your leads come from? You got 126 leads, roughly 60 were from the Charge events. 60 on its own is a great number for a month. 126 is outrageous. Where did the delta come from?
Some of those were just our normal lead flow, whether it comes from our Google ads or website and SEO stuff, some referrals. So that accounts for a chunk of the remaining ones. But I also started the Gym Growth Blast Off, the program with Mark. And the very first couple of assignments were email marketing related. So reaching back out to cold leads or ex-members or things like that. Ghosties and freshies, as I believe he calls them. And so we made an offer. We sent out emails. I did all of the segmenting in our CRM, and we sent out an offer to various groups, and we had some hits. I think we ended up signing up 8 people on that LBO in October.
Fantastic. That's huge. And for the people who aren't familiar with Blastoff, and this isn't intended to be a sales pitch for Blastoff, but tell us a little bit more about what you did to segment the list and what those offers look like, because that's something that a lot of gym owners, once somebody's left, we do nothing and wait for them to contact us again. And you had such great success with this. And I also want to point out, you're not like a new gym, and you're not like, you've got chops, and it still worked really well for you. So give us a little more insight of like what you did and how that worked.
Yeah, for sure. First, the importance of maintaining a segmented list was really hammered home for me. Initially in that group, the assignment was to segment, and you have your cold leads, you have your warm leads, you have your ex members, your current members, things like that. Because obviously you don't want to send the wrong message to the wrong group. Um, so that part was a little bit daunting, and it got to the point where I had my current members, I had my warm leads, because those are obviously, say, the first 2 weeks of reaching out to us. And then I just applied cold lead to everybody else, because if I waited for it to be perfect, then I would still be working on it. And obviously that wasn't going to serve me or serve anybody else.
Exactly.
So we had, for the cold leads and for the ex members, it was a similar LBO, but just sort of framed a little differently. So for cold leads, we offered them a new way to get started, which was a 2-week unlimited pass for $49.
Nice.
And so these were people who maybe tried our free class, which is one of our options, or maybe contacted us, but we never got them in the door, or something like that. Then for the ex members, it was the same LBO, 2 weeks of training for just $49, unlimited. But we basically framed it as, we miss you. We'd love to have you back. Even if you just want to train with us for these 2 weeks, that's great. We also know that, or we hope that some of you will stick around for a little bit after that.
That's beauty. Well, you've hit a couple really important points here. One of which is like segmenting your list can be daunting, especially if you haven't done it from day one. Like there's no, like that was a lot of admin work to go through emails, put people on the right list, make sure you're not the wrong people aren't getting the wrong message. Because even though, us and our listeners know that like, yeah, email marketing is a thing. And most of our clients probably know that as well. A well-written email reads like it's having a conversation with one people. And if you're saying, hey, we'd love to have you back, but it's actually a lead who's never joined you before, like that's probably going to turn them off and it comes across as spam. So
Yes.
point number one is just because it's daunting and administratively heavy doesn't mean it's not worth it in the long run. Like 8 new members from that is worth a few hours of segmenting your list. And the second thing you've mentioned that's really important as well is your offers aren't crazy different. And this is something that we talk about in Unicorn Study a lot, as you know, but like you just changed the wrapping paper. Your former members and your unconverted leads both got 2 weeks. It was just how it was packaged. And the example I use for this is like Alex Hormozy's $100 million offers. It's all about the wrapping paper. The jewelry store doesn't make new diamonds because it's Christmas. It's just on sale for Christmas, so it's a Christmas deal, but it's the same diamonds for Christmas or Boxing Day or Valentine's Day or Easter or summer break, or I don't know the jewelry store. I don't know what all the promotions are, but you've done a really good job keeping your offers really simple and just tweaking them for the audience rather than reinventing the wheel each time. Like, what do I sell them? Because for a lot of these people, it probably feels to you like you're selling 2 weeks for $49 all the time. But to those different groups, that's the first time they've heard it from you probably. So it's new to them, even though it's old to you.
Exactly. We've never offered it exactly like that. So it was brand new to everybody that received it.
Beautiful. It's just, again, you kept it so simple.
Yeah. And then big takeaway for me was we updated some of our SOPs. So whether it was a new lead or somebody on the LBO or converting into a membership or canceling a membership, we now have a step in our SOP to update the tags in our CRM. That way, it's typically 1 or 2 at a time when that's happening, as opposed to thousands that you have to sort through if you do it as like a one-time exercise.
Yes, a very valuable pro tip. Once you segment your list, keep it maintained. You don't maintain your house once a decade, because then you got a lot of problems to deal with. It's much easier to just, cut your grass every week. This is the same applies. Well, anything else that you want to hit on in terms of success this past month that I haven't asked in terms of your lead gen and conversions?
I don't think so. I mean, my biggest takeaway is that even if I may not have, say, an event with a charge group until, say, the next school term or something like that, I can just hit up other groups. I'm sure there's plenty of other groups out there that I haven't even identified yet that would, who doesn't love a free offer?
Yeah, 100%. And if nothing else, there's something to be said for, even if you're not getting the same type of conversion that you did, because I do want to say your results seem significantly above average, which isn't a surprise knowing you. But even if you're running an event and it's not a slam dunk, that's still 10 or 20 more people who have good things to say about your gym. You never know when that person's like, you know what, this person's a little far from me. I came for the first free workout. It was awesome, but I'm not going to drive there 3 days a week. who knows when they're going to tell a friend who moves to town or somebody else that they get lunch with. Like, that's just more people speaking about good things about your gym.
For sure. And then with everybody, whether they signed up or not, they're now in my contact list. And with help from Mark and the Gym Growth Blast Off, I'm continuing my weekly pulse of email marketing. In fact, I just sent one out before I hopped on this video.
Beautiful.
So hopefully that one keeps paying dividends.
Absolutely. There was a period, especially with like Reels and TikTok and all the main social media platforms prioritizing the same content, where it was like social media is the game, and email marketing isn't necessarily the sexiest thing anymore because it's not new and shiny and attractive. But if you're consistent with your list, it's not uncommon to be getting a few signups a month from sending one content-based email a week, with periodic harder sells at opportune times, such as Black Friday or Boxing Day would be ones that come to mind for this time of year.
Yep.
All right, so let's do a recap. So in terms of running the events, one, try to find local groups where them coming to you would actually be doing a favor for them. You can still organize your own things, but why not leverage a group of already 20 people rather than you having to find 20 individual people? Two, once you do that, make sure that you control the process. Get them to sign up with your systems and your software rather than leaving it on the group. One, as from your experience, it sounds like it makes it a lighter lift for them and they're going to appreciate you from that. But two, it makes it easy for you to control the messaging and the delivery and make sure that this is a win-win for all parties. Three, run a kick-ass event. I know we didn't talk about that too much, but I'm just going to assume that if you're listening to this podcast, the fulfillment of fitness services is something that's a strength and passion of yours. So do your thing. And then lastly, make sure that you hit them with an offer. That could, as Drew did, that's in person at the end of the event, a follow-up email afterwards, a follow-up email to let them know it's closing soon in the morning, and a follow-up email after it closes about if you didn't get it, weren't able to come, to try to get a couple more people out of it that they can still benefit. Did I hit all the points in terms of the events?
I think that's pretty much it. And you're right. We didn't talk about the quality of the event, but if people don't have a good time and they don't enjoy the workout or whatever type of event it is you're doing, then the offer doesn't matter.
Yeah, it should be a mixture of great quality training, but also a lot of fun. The goal isn't to change their fitness life in that one workout. It's to get them excited about a thing that could change their life.
For sure.
And then when it comes to the work you've been doing with Blast Off, it's like, yeah, sometimes you got to do the crappy stuff like segmenting your list, but once it's in place, you can keep your offers relatively simple. Like, you're probably going to be able to keep offering 2 weeks for $49-ish. You can hit your unconverted leads with that every 3 months, no problem. So segment your list, make sure you email your list regularly, and you don't need to reinvent the wheel when it comes to offers. 2 weeks unlimited is our go-to right now with the Unicorn Society. The price point can vary, but it's enough that it feels like a really good deal, because it is. But it also, unlimited is really nice because then people can come enough times that they start to see the value from it. I think often speaking for myself, I was kind of stingy with offers before, where I'm like, well, I don't want to give them too much for free. It devalues my service. And there's something to be said for being able to, like, not just try before you buy, but get to experience the difference before you buy, which sounds like you've done really well.
Exactly.
Perfect. Anything else you want to add?
I don't think so. I think we covered it all.
Perfect. Well, I just want to say congratulations again. So great to hear about the success. Like, lots of leads, lots of conversions. You've got, and Google reviews. You've got the best of all worlds. So thanks for being on the podcast. And listeners, if you're interested in some offers like Drew's been doing, download our list of best converting offers in the show notes. It's yours for free, no strings attached, so that you can get more people into your gym, change more lives, and make more money. Thanks, Drew.
Thanks for having me.